Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. This week's battle sees my second game of O Group and the first game where I'm actually in charge of the entire force. So we're playing a late war game set somewhere in Normandy in June, July 1944. I'm attacking with a British battalion and Keith is defending with a German one, and let's have a look at the forces. Let's have a look at the forces. We're playing in 15mm, so I'm using some of my Flames of War stuff, and I've actually rebased a battalion worth of British for this game. Decided not really a fan of the square or rectangular Flames of War bases. I wanted round bases, and I can use them for either battle group or for O group, but they'll probably mainly be used for O group, I would think. So I've got the battalion HQ with attached mortars, 3 rifle companies, a medium machine gun section of a single Vickers, which is going to be attached to one of the platoons and one of the forward companies, a 6-pounder in tow, 2 staghound armoured cars because staghounds are cool, and 2 Cromwell tanks. So I started out as the attacker with 15 points and I rolled a 5, so I got another 5 points. I ended up with 20 points all up for my force. The Germans start defending with 10 points, but I think it was either a 1 or a 2, can't quite remember, that Keith got, so quite a disparity in points there. He's got his HQ with his observer and mortars, 3 rifle companies, 2 Pack 36, they've got some Stale Granite or whatever it's called. He's got a 250/9 armoured car, which is my favourite armoured car of the war. Everyone's into Pumas and things, but the 250/9's way nicer. And he's also got the Stummel version of the 75mm gun as well, with a supporting 250/8. So small force, not a great deal of anti-tank. He's got Panzer Force and stuff integral to his sections and platoons though. So let's have a look at the board. Let's have a look at deployment. Sorry, this is partway actually through turn 2. I think I didn't get a good overview. But on O Group, you roll to see how many units start on table, how many combat patrols you get, stuff like that. I ended up with, I think, 5 platoons on table, but I converted 1 to another combat patrol. It started with 3 patrols. I think I ended up putting 4 down though. So I started with a platoon in the woods here, with the company commander nearby, and put a combat patrol here, because this company, I just used the river as the company boundary, and I made this farmyard as the first objective. So the other company had a platoon behind here, company commander there, a combat patrol in the trees here, and a staghound just off table over here. Now, for the Germans, I'm not sure if anything started on table, but Keith ended up with 5 combat patrols, so he scattered them across the front to try and keep my patrols at bay, 1 behind the building here in this wooded area, there, and there. And I set, as I said, my company boundary is the river. I decided I wanted to concentrate my 2 companies, swing round this way, get 2 jumping off points for my reserve companies to come on, and then my final objective was going to be the high ground here. So my thoughts were, we'll capture the high ground, then tomorrow the British can launch another attack to clear the village. The other option was to go round this way, but I thought that all the orchards and woods and things, it was going to be harder, and I decided to try and swing with a bit of a left hook, see if I could outflank the village, and we'll see how that worked out as we continue on the game. Video turn 1, not a great deal of action, except I did give the initiative away. I did then get mortared in this wood. I had a platoon suppressed, company commander pinned,
And then in the rally phase, my platoon ran off the board. So that is 3 towards the 4 needed for a FUBAR, if I know these rules correctly. Meanwhile, over here, not a great deal of action, apart from some sneaky Germans trying to get to the high ground, but they'll never get there, surely. On to turn 2.
So with my first turn, I moved a combat patrol up to this hedge line here and deployed this platoon from them. Platoon advanced behind this building here. Combat patrol moved into this wooded area. Staghound moved up here so that it could try and recce this orchard to see if there was any ambushes potentially in there. And I also think that I ranged in my mortars on this wood. Had no idea there was a combat patrol in here, and Keith wasn't aware that this was my objective, but I wanted to try and neutralize this wood just in case there was anything lurking inside it. So that was about all that happened on my turn 1.
Turn 2, the British got initiative, advanced onto this hill, which was our initial objective line. So deployed the commander from the 2nd platoon or 2nd company. A couple of guys, then patrols were deployed. Scout car came zooming up because I tried to deploy into that wood but was ambushed and suppressed by the Germans in there, and I've moved a few units to try and deal with that. Meanwhile, on the other flank, the Germans have captured that hill, are outflanking my little combat patrol there. Staghound has moved into this terrain though, and towards the end of the turn, a little 250/9 75mm armoured car took a pot shot at my men suppressed on that hill. So interesting turn. On to turn 3.
And here's just a bit of an overview of where things are at that turn. So my initial mortar strike into this terrain was actually quite good. I didn't hit the infantry in there. Keith was forced to deploy his ambush because I tried to advance into it. Over here, this company commander just got pinned turn after turn by the German mortars. Was quite funny. The Staghound advanced up here, and I think it used a company command order to put some additional pressure on here. I really thought that my attacks around here and suppressing fire were going to be successful, but wasn't to be that turn. Staghound's over here. So yeah, so combat and the focus is over here at present. I've had initiative, and I'm really been trying to put the pressure on Keith, and he's been having to expend quite a few of his order dice countering it. So I really like the way that this mechanism works in that regard. You haven't got all the orders you want, but you can put pressure on the opponent. And I was also sneaking around here on this other side with my combat patrols and stuff to keep them guessing until my reserves started to come on here. And so these 2 combat patrols here and here means that I've got jumping up points for platoons to deploy in the next turn. So yeah, quite an interesting turn, that one.
Right, interesting turn 3. British had initiative. I made several attempts to take that wood. I rallied some men. There was a platoon here that charged in and got ambushed by some Pack 36s, and then later on they were shot by various Germans, including this guy. Launched another assault with a company command order. We had a close assault. It was a draw. My infantry retreated. I damaged the armoured car. These guys managed to not quite get into the building on the far right flank, and my commander over here in the woods got shelled once more. He's been attracting a lot of mortar fire. So on to turn 4. Oh, and I've taken 7 losses so far. So that's 1 FUBAR. I've lost 1 dice, nearly 2 FUBARs, and the Germans have lost, I think, 1 stand. So interesting. A lot happened on turn 4. I assaulted early on into that wood, killed the German infantry, and then used the company command order to take out the Pack 36s as well. Otherwise, firing pushed the Staghound forward, and that resulted in a swarm of German infantry appearing. New company commander back there. Not a lot on this side of the table except infantry platoon occupied back there, and that's probably roughly it. So turn 5, I did cause about 4 wounds I think on the Germans, so he took a foo bar, so we're both on 1 foo bar. So on to turn 5 I think it is. Okay, British again just managed to take the initiative. Didn't do a heck of a lot. Deployed platoon with the machine guns, suppressed the infantry over there, didn't cause any wounds. Staghound had a bit of incoming fire. This platoon here I think actually saved a lot of incoming wounds. And on the other side of the table, this wood is being renamed Polygon because the British in there are just taking a pasting from mortars, infantry, 250/8s, and all kinds of incoming fire. So no, I don't think either of us took any losses though that turn. So on to turn 6. Turn 6, the British lost another casualty, 2 casualties I think, yep, in this wood through mortars and then rifle fire. Didn't cause any, I think I may have caused 1 wound over there, yeah, but that was about it. So the British are on 10, so nearly close to breaking. The Germans are on what, 2, 4, 7, so not quite as close. Not an effective turn 7. A lot of firing from the Germans because they only need to kill 1 more stand after they cleared the wood. And unfortunately, I'm on 11 verse 7. The British high water mark appears to have been reached, but we're hanging on, hoping for a miracle. Turn 7, the Germans finally got the initiative. Poured a lot of fire into this section here till finally a 1 and a 2 on my saves, and they died, and the British slunk back towards the beaches.
And here's the situation at the end of turn 8. It wasn't actually turn 7. The Germans, as I said, they got the initiative at last, and they poured a lot of fire onto this platoon here until I took a loss, and that broke the British. Over here, on turn 7, I'd retreated the Staghound. It is being shot at with Panzerfausts from over here. Just couldn't manage to kill that platoon over there either. So swung it back about turn 4, 5 when I took out about 5 units in 1 turn and got it back to 7 or so, but just from then on just couldn't concentrate enough. One of the many things I like about the rules, actually, just that command and control kind of stuff. You've never got enough order dice. So yeah, so it didn't quite go my way there. This fight was epic for this woods. I captured it, then I got the troops in there got mortared to pieces. They were quite exposed. They were being hit from here, they were being shot at from here and from over here, and I just, once they were pinned and suppressed, I wasn't able to pull them back to safety, and they were eventually destroyed. So not frustrating is the wrong word. It was probably accurate in lots of ways. They were in an exposed position and needed to pull back, but I just wasn't able to manage that. So the game ebbed and flowed. I had the initiative most of the game, and I tried to pour the pressure on. The rule that really needs some kind of objectives as part of the core rules. I would think we can, we can come up with rules and for objectives and scenarios and stuff, but really it should be part of the core rule. I would have thought. Like I realized partway through capturing my jump off point so that my reserve company could come on was great, and and that represents that battalion level stuff, blah 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 blah. But my main objective was this hill here. But actually, after I'd got my third company on, there's absolutely nothing in the rules as they're written to actually force or encourage me to capture my objective. There's no points for capturing it. There's no giving a couple of points towards the foo bar or something. I don't know, would it be worth it? But basically, I realised from about turn 6 onwards, all I needed to do was concentrate my fire and shoot more of the enemy than was able to shoot me. Needs work, really. We'll come up with some ideas, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, is that all there is to it? Come on. Yeah. Anyway, minor gripe. And also some of the rules are just weird. Like, you roll to hit infantry, you roll to save, then you roll to kill. 3 steps. Why? Absolutely pointless as far as I can see. And you need a 5+, or you roll 2. The infantry fail 2 saves, then you automatically take 1 off. The rest of the rules have this nice streamlined 3+4+ kind of mechanic thing going on. So why not just use the 4+, save on a 4+, or you die. Simple, bang, on with the game. More sure, it'll be a bit bloodier and stuff, but the game will get a bit faster. So it got a wee bit boggy, I felt, about turn 5, 6, 7 when we were both rolling, or especially Keith, to be fair, was rolling pretty poorly for some of his attempts to kill my units. But yeah, just one step too many, I think. And same like your company. What's it? Yeah, after you do a foo bar, you're meant to put a dice under your hand, and the other person guesses with what it is, and that determines if you lose 1 or 2 orders to show the the shock to the company. Blah blah. Well, really, where does that come from? And what's the point? Why not just have a table, roll a d6? Or so how we ended up doing is we both rolled a d6, and the person who had killed or had forced the foo bar, they got 2 attempts. A wee bit cleaner and simpler. So there's just a few quirky things like that where I think they could have actually just streamlined the rules a wee bit better. I mean, just to be to be fair though, this is only my first proper game playing a full game, and I've only had one playtest game against myself, so I'm no rules expert. I like the rules, I like the way combat patrols work. I just think in some areas it's a bit clunky, and I'm comparing it to a game that I really like, which is Rapid Fire Reloaded, and going, Rapid Fire Reloaded, you get the same outcomes for a lot less dice rolling. So I could import the combat patrol to Rapid Fire Reloaded, and off I go. Not sure I'll go down that track. I want to continue playing this. I've enjoyed the games against Keith, and he's a very good opponent. So I don't want to mess around with the rules at this stage, but there are areas where I think after a few more games under my belt, I would definitely be looking at tinkering and changing them. But one thing I do want to look at is how to make objectives actually a more meaningful part of the game than they appear to be in the core rulebook anyway. But don't want to grumble or gripe too much. Have to go and chase some kids off my lawn again at this point of proceedings, I guess. But if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. One thing I have noted while doing this is what this kind of report has completely failed to do is look at actually the battalion, the dice rolls at the start of the turn to see how you allocate your orders and stuff, which is a real core part of the game. And in this battle report hasn't really shown how cool the interactions with being able to have reactions and the game flows really quite nicely from that point of view. So big thumbs up from that side of the game. Really enjoy that aspect of it. But Again, as per usual, I'm waffling, so enough from me. Until next time. Oh, actually, sorry, one more thing. Keith and I are heading down to Outram tomorrow, and we're going to have a game of Battle Group against Richard. Keith and Richard have communicated in the past, but they haven't actually met yet. So looking forward to the three of us getting together, having a game of Battle Group, which is going to be in 20mm using my new British. So that's going to be another report in the making, I hope. But until the next report, take care, have a great week. Ka kite anō.